Kids may not know what's nutritious, but they do know what's delicious.
The winning team doesn't have a sandwich appetite. They've got a manwich appetite.
Did see Moore cooking his stew in my kitchen.
Canned foods once filled the shelves of kitchens across America, valued for their convenience, affordability, and occasional touch of luxury. However, as taste evolved and health consciousness increased, these once beloved staples gradually lost their place in modern kitchens. So join us as we delve into the stories of 20 famous canned foods that faded into history.
Spaghetti you can eat with a spoon. Uh-oh, SpaghettiOs. Eat round spaghetti that'll stay on your spoon. Uh-oh, SpaghettiOs.
SpaghettiOs. SpaghettiOs, introduced by Campbell's in 1965, were a hit among children and parents alike. This ring-shaped pasta in a tomato and cheese sauce was designed to be a convenient, kid-friendly meal. The idea was to create a pasta dish that was easy to eat, even without a fork. SpaghettiOs quickly became a staple in American households due to their affordability and convenience, costing around 50 cents per can in the 1960s. The product was heavily marketed, featuring catchy jingles like "Uh-oh, SpaghettiOs" that became ingrained in popular culture. Parents appreciated SpaghettiOs as a quick meal solution that children enjoyed, and the fortified vitamins and minerals added to its appeal. However, taste and dietary preferences evolved. By the late 20th century, there was a growing focus on healthier eating and fresh ingredients, which led to a decline in the popularity of canned foods, including SpaghettiOs. Concerns over processed foods and high sodium content contributed to their decreased demand. Despite this, SpaghettiOs remain available today, though they were once more common. They now compete with various quick meal options, emphasizing health and fresh ingredients.
You know, I love cooking in the 70s because we did so many classics that were fantastic. And this one, Chicken a la King. That used to be one of my best-selling items in the restaurant for lunch.
Chicken a la King. Chicken a la King, a luxurious dish featuring tender chicken pieces and vegetables in a creamy sauce, was once a popular canned food. It gained widespread popularity in the early to mid-20th century, especially during the 50s and 60s. With its rich and comforting flavors, this dish was a convenient meal option that brought a touch of elegance to the table. In the 1960s, a can of Chicken a la King typically cost around 60 cents, making it an affordable choice for many families. The appeal of Chicken a la King lay in its ease of preparation and the perception of being a fancy meal without effort. It was often served over toast, rice, or noodles, making it versatile and adaptable for different occasions. However, as culinary trends shifted towards fresh ingredients and homemade meals, the demand for canned Chicken a la King declined. The growing awareness of processed foods and their nutritional drawbacks further contributed to their fade from popularity. Today, while it can still be found in some stores, it's far less common, overshadowed by the increasing preference for fresh and less processed meal options. As families enjoyed the luxurious convenience of Chicken a la King, another canned staple was making its mark in kitchens across the country. But what made corned beef, with its savory and salty appeal, a beloved favorite during the same era?
Give me something that's new, beef and taters to chew, crisp through and through, hearty too, Merry Kitchen hash, I love you.
Corned beef. Corned beef, a savory and salty meat product, was a staple in many households, particularly during the mid-20th century. Often used in hash or sandwiches, canned corned beef provided a convenient and long-lasting source of protein. It became trendy during World War II due to its non-perishable nature and ease of transport, making it a favorite among soldiers and civilians. In the 1950s, a can of corned beef cost around 70 cents. Corned beef's distinct salty flavor made it a versatile ingredient in various recipes. Its popularity extended beyond just American cuisine, as it was widely used in many Caribbean and Latin American dishes. Corned beef hash, made with diced potatoes and onions, was a beloved breakfast item, while corned beef sandwiches were a lunchbox favorite. However, the demand for canned corned beef has declined over the years. Increased health consciousness led to a preference for fresher and less processed meats.
15 people in this factory push out almost 4,000 dozen tamales a day.
That's the way she does it. It's hard. I can't do it like that.
Tamales. Canned tamales featuring soft masa wrapped around spiced meat were once a popular convenience food. They became widely available in the mid-20th century, especially during the 1950s and 60s when convenience foods were highly valued. During this period, a can of tamales typically cost around 60 cents, making them an affordable meal option for many families. The appeal of canned tamales lies in their simplicity and unique taste. They offer a quick and easy way to enjoy a traditionally labor-intensive dish without extensive preparation. The masa, a corn dough, and the spiced meat filling are preserved in a can, providing a long shelf life and making it possible to enjoy tamales year-round. As consumers became more health-conscious and interested in authentic cooking, the appeal of canned tamales diminished. Fresh tamales, often found at local markets and made with high-quality ingredients, became more accessible and preferred.
Gotta blow the whistle on these Encore Salisbury steaks.
What's the call, Rap?
There's just too much food here for one official. I can't finish all these juicy flame-broiled Salisbury steaks all by myself.
Time out.
Salisbury steak. Salisbury steak, featuring beef patties in a rich gravy, was once a popular canned food option, particularly during the mid-20th century. Sold in the 1950s and 60s, a can of Salisbury steak typically cost around 80 cents, offering a convenient and affordable meal solution. What made Salisbury steak distinct was its hearty and comforting appeal. The tender beef patties, smothered in savory gravy, were satisfying, often served with mashed potatoes or vegetables. This dish became a staple in many households, especially when convenience was prioritized over elaborate cooking. However, as culinary taste evolved and fresh ingredients became more accessible, the popularity of canned Salisbury steak declined. Salisbury steak offered a convenient and hearty meal option during the mid-20th century, capturing the essence of comfort food. But as taste evolved and fresh ingredients became more popular, another canned classic also saw its heyday. One about canned chili con carne, which has become a staple in many households.
What's that? Chili con carne. Chili con what? Carne. It's just mince and vegetables, but Mum says cook in the pot makes it special. Try some.
Chili con carne. Chili con carne, a hearty dish featuring beef and beans in a spicy sauce, was once a popular canned food choice, especially in the mid-20th century. Sold primarily in the 1950s and 60s, a can of chili con carne typically cost around 75 cents, providing an affordable and convenient meal option. It was a filling and satisfying dish that could be enjoyed independently or served over rice, baked potatoes, or hot dogs. The combination of tender beef, beans, and spices made it a favorite comfort food. Nevertheless, the decline in the popularity of canned chili con carne can be attributed to several factors. As consumer preferences shifted towards fresher and healthier options, the perceived drawbacks of canned foods, such as high sodium content and preservatives, decreased demand.
Honey, I don't have a sandwich appetite. I've got a manwich appetite.
A sandwich is a sandwich, but a manwich is a meal.
Sloppy Joe sauce. Sloppy Joe sauce, a tangy and seasoned sauce used to make the beloved Sloppy Joes, was once a popular canned food item, primarily in the mid-20th century. Sold during the 50s and 60s, a can of Sloppy Joe sauce typically cost around 65 cents, providing a convenient and budget-friendly option for families. The sauce's tangy and slightly sweet taste was a hit among children and adults, making it a go-to choice for quick and satisfying meals. However, the rise of homemade cooking and the availability of prepackaged seasoning mixes contributed to the decline of canned Sloppy Joe sauce. Today, while canned Sloppy Joe sauce may still be available in some stores, it's less common than it once was.
Real good stew. The stew. It's good.
Oh, it's just, well, actually...
Beef stew. Beef stew, featuring tender chunks of beef with vegetables and a savory gravy, was a popular canned food choice, especially during the mid-20th century. Sold primarily in the 50s and 60s, a can of beef stew typically cost around 85 cents, providing a convenient and hearty meal option for many households. The decline in the popularity of canned beef stew can be attributed to various factors. As consumer taste evolved, there was a growing preference for fresher and less processed foods. Concerns about the high sodium content and preservatives in canned foods also decreased demand. Additionally, the rise of alternative meal options, such as frozen dinners and ready-to-eat meals, further diminished the appeal of canned beef stew. Luncheon meat, like Spam. Like Spam, luncheon meat was a versatile canned meat product that gained popularity in the mid-20th century. Sold primarily in the 1950s and 60s, a can of luncheon meat typically cost around 70 cents, offering a convenient and affordable protein option. It can be fried, baked, or eaten straight out of the can, making quick meals or sandwiches convenient. The uniform slices and long shelf life also made it famous for camping trips, military rations, and emergency food supplies. As dietary preferences shifted towards fresher and less processed foods, the demand for canned meats decreased. Concerns over the high sodium content and preservatives in luncheon meat also decreased appeal. Additionally, the rise of alternative protein sources such as fresh deli meats and plant-based options further diminished the market for canned luncheon meat.
Campbell's Chicken Noodle Soup.
Let it snow, let it snow.
Campbell's makes everything.
Chicken Noodle Soup. Chicken Noodle Soup, a comforting classic with chicken noodles and vegetables, was once a popular canned food option, especially during the mid-20th century. Sold primarily in the 50s and 60s, a can of chicken noodle soup typically cost around 50 cents, providing a convenient and affordable meal option. However, the decline in the popularity of canned chicken noodle soup can be attributed to the changing consumer preferences and dietary trends. The rise of homemade cooking and the availability of fresh refrigerated soups contributed to the decline. Today, while canned chicken noodle soup may still be available in some stores, it's less common than it once was. It represents a nostalgic relic of a time when convenience foods were a staple in many households' pantries. Chicken noodle soup's popularity waned with the rise of fresh and homemade options, marking the end of an era for canned meals. But as taste changed, another classic faced a similar fate. What happened to beefaroni, the once-beloved pasta dish in a can?
Oh, not tonight, sweetie. You've had Chef every night this week.
But I love Chef.
Beefaroni. Beefaroni, a beloved pasta dish with ground beef in the tomato sauce, was once a popular canned food item, particularly during the latter half of the 20th century. Sold primarily in the 60s and 70s, a can of beefaroni typically cost around 60 cents, providing an affordable and convenient meal option for families. The combination of pasta, savory ground beef, and tangy tomato sauce made it a favorite among kids who enjoyed its taste and texture. The convenience of opening a can and heating the contents made beefaroni a convenient choice for busy parents. However, the demand for canned pasta dishes decreased as dietary preferences shifted towards fresher and less processed foods. Concerns over canned foods' nutritional value and additives also reduced appeal. Additionally, the rise of alternative meal options, such as frozen dinners and healthier pasta dishes, further diminished the market for canned beefaroni.
Oh, I love your fruit cocktail, Mother Nature. I just love it.
At Del Monte, Mother Nature is on our side.
Fruit cocktail. Fruit cocktail, a mix of various fruits and syrup, was a popular canned food option throughout the mid-20th century. Sold primarily in the 1950s and 60s, a can of fruit cocktail typically cost around 65 cents, providing a convenient and affordable dessert or snack option. What made fruit cocktails distinguishable was their versatility. The assortment of fruits such as peaches, pears, grapes, and cherries, preserved in syrup, made them suitable for various culinary uses. They could be enjoyed independently, used as a topping for ice cream or yogurt, or incorporated into cakes, pies, and fruit salads. However, the decline in the popularity of canned fruit cocktails can be attributed to changing consumer preferences and dietary trends. As people became more health conscious and concerned about added sugars, the demand for canned fruits and syrup decreased. While fruit cocktails provided a sweet and versatile treat, another canned food won hearts with its savory appeal. What was this beloved dish that paired perfectly with family picnics and barbecues, yet declined similarly due to changing dietary trends? Let's discover the story of baked beans next.
I wonder, if I ate enough Heinz baked beans, do you think I could become Prime Minister?
Baked beans. Baked beans, featuring beans in a sweet and tangy sauce, were a staple canned food item, particularly during the mid-20th century. Sold predominantly in the 50s and 60s, A can of baked beans typically cost around 55 cents, offering an affordable and convenient side dish option. Tender beans cooked in a savory sauce made with molasses, brown sugar, and spices resulted in a comforting and satisfying dish. Baked beans were often enjoyed as a side dish at barbecues, picnics, and family gatherings. People became more conscious of their sugar intake and sought healthier food options. The high sugar content in canned baked beans became a deterrent. While canned baked beans may still be available in some stores, they're not as common as they once were, representing a nostalgic reminder of a time when convenience and affordability drove food choices.
Make it filling. Make it a meal. Campbell's tomato soup. Make it as hearty as you are hungry.
Tomato soup. Tomato soup, a classic and comforting canned food item, was famous throughout the mid-20th century, sold primarily in the 50s and 60s. A can of tomato soup typically cost around 40 cents, offering an inexpensive and convenient meal option. The smooth and savory soup, made from ripe tomatoes and seasonings, could be enjoyed independently or with various accompaniments. One popular combination was grilled cheese sandwiches, as the soup's creamy texture complemented the crispy, gooey goodness of the sandwich. Concerns about the high sodium content and preservatives in canned soups also contributed to decreased demand. The rise of alternative soup options, including homemade recipes and ready-to-eat refrigerated soups, further diminished the market for canned tomato soup. Creamed corn. Creamed corn, featuring sweet corn kernels in a creamy sauce, was a popular canned food choice, especially during the mid-20th century. Sold primarily in the 50s and 60s, a can of creamed corn typically cost around 50 cents, providing a convenient and affordable ingredient for casseroles and side dishes. Creamed corn's distinct characteristics were its creamy texture and sweet flavor. The combination of tender corn kernels and rich sauce made from milk or cream created a comforting and indulgent dish that was enjoyed by many. The decline in the popularity of canned creamed corn can be attributed to changing dietary preferences and health concerns. As people became more health conscious and sought out fresher and less processed foods, the demand for canned vegetables, including creamed corn, decreased. Although canned creamed corn may still be available in some stores, it's less common than it once was. This represents a nostalgic reminder of when convenience often outweighed nutritional considerations in food choices. Creamed corn began to lose its place on dinner tables, but another canned staple faced a similar fate. But what made pineapple chunks, once a go-to for desserts and salads, fall out of favor in modern kitchens?
It's the oddest fruit in the world. Prickly outside, tingly sweet inside. It's Dole pineapple in its own juice. It brings new life to cottage cheese.
Pineapple chunks. Pineapple chunks, featuring juicy pineapple pieces and syrup, were a popular canned fruit option, particularly during the mid-20th century. Sold primarily in the 50s and 60s, a can of pineapple chunks typically cost around 60 cents, providing a convenient and affordable ingredient for desserts and salads. The versatility of canned pineapple made it a favorite for sweet and savory recipes, including fruit salads, pineapple upside-down cakes, and ham glazes. Nevertheless, the decline in the popularity of canned pineapple chunks can be attributed to several factors. Dietary taste shifted towards fresher and less processed foods, and the demand for canned fruits decreased. Concerns about added sugars and preservatives in canned fruits also reduced demand.
It takes well over a year for a pineapple to reach perfect ripeness. The man from Del Monte knows that moment.
Clam chowder. Clam chowder, a rich and creamy soup with clams and potatoes, was a popular canned food option, particularly during the mid-20th century. Sold primarily in the 1950s and 1960s, a can of clam chowder typically cost around 75 cents, providing a convenient and hearty meal option. The combination of tender clams, diced potatoes, and creamy broth made it a favorite among seafood lovers and comfort food enthusiasts. However, concerns about the high sodium content and preservatives found in canned soups also contributed to its decreased appeal.
Having ravioli, it's from Chef Boyardee. Raviolis filled with deep, hot and hearty, fun to eat.
Ravioli. Ravioli, Pasta pillows filled with meat and cheese and tomato sauce were once a popular canned food choice, particularly during the mid-20th century. Sold predominantly in the 50s and 60s, a can of ravioli typically cost around 65 cents, offering a convenient and budget-friendly meal option. The combination of tender pasta, flavorful meat and cheese filling, and savory tomato sauce made it a satisfying meal that could be enjoyed on its own or paired with a side salad or garlic bread. As people became more health conscious and sought out fresher and less processed foods, the demand for canned pasta dishes, including ravioli, decreased. Concerns about the high sodium content and preservatives in canned foods also contributed to their reduced appeal. Moreover, the rise of alternative meal options, such as frozen pasta dinners and homemade ravioli recipes, further diminished the market for canned varieties. Today, while canned ravioli may still be available in some stores, it's not as common as it once was, representing a nostalgic relic of mid-20th century convenience cuisine.
Is bean slicing hard to learn?
Not with the Giant's green beans. Any way you slice them, they're delicious. Crisp, tender, and full of fresh bean flavor.
Green beans. Green beans, tender and vibrant, were a popular canned vegetable sold primarily in the mid-20th century. During the 50s and 60s, a can of green beans typically cost around 40 cents, making them an affordable and convenient addition to many meals. They were commonly used in casseroles such as green beans, a beloved dish served during holiday gatherings. The bright green color and crisp texture of canned green beans made them a favorite side dish for many families. However, the demand for canned vegetables, including green beans, decreased when dietary preferences shifted towards fresher and less processed foods. Concerns about the loss of nutrients and the presence of additives in canned vegetables also contributed to their decreased appeal. Additionally, the availability of frozen and fresh green beans year-round further diminished the market for canned varieties. As green beans brightened family meals in the 50s and 60s, another comforting favorite was also making its mark. But what about the hearty and wholesome chicken and rice soup, a staple of the same era, and how did it face the challenges of changing dietary preferences? Chicken and rice soup, a comforting dish featuring chicken, rice, and vegetables in a savory broth, was a popular canned food option, particularly in the mid-20th century. Sold primarily in the 50s and 60s, a can of chicken and rice soup typically cost around 60 cents, providing an affordable and convenient meal option. Its hearty and wholesome flavor made canned chicken and rice soup distinct. The combination of tender chicken, fluffy rice, and flavorful vegetables made it a satisfying meal, especially during colder months or when feeling under the weather. However, the concerns about the high sodium content and preservatives in canned soups also contributed to its decreased appeal.